But what if you didn't have to wait till you're 60? What if you didn't have to wait till you're 70? What if you could have financial freedom earlier? So you don't have to work, but you can work. Wouldn't that be nice? Hey everyone, and thanks for watching this video. A lot of you are friends and family. Thanks for watching all these videos. If you're new to this channel, my name is Michael, and I talk about mindset, traveling, and a bunch of different stuff. I currently live in Vietnam and live a life that I enjoy. And some people ask me questions about achieving financial freedom. I have also helped friends go through Excel forms and do some budgeting and also some forecasting and help some friends make drastic changes. So I know it's an important topic, which makes me think more people should be talking about it. I want to be sharing this information. So I was like, let's just share the information. So I'm going to share some of my journey, some of my learnings, and then hopefully that can get a conversation started as well. I have different money here. I don't have, a ton lying around or whatever, but I have some US dollars. Most of you are probably familiar with this. And then I have some Vietnamese money here, VND. This is Vietnamese dong. And so here's some of that. Here's some Korean won. This is some Thai baht. This is some Indian rupee. This is like the stuff that's the most beat up, the Indian money. I just wanted to show you some of this because I've traveled the world, collected money from different places. This is not on purpose. Like when I've traveled to Thailand so many times, I just have change left over. Korea, I went to Korea and it was Tet holiday. So everything was closed down. I was just there for a layover. So I pulled out a bunch of money and then I couldn't spend it because everywhere was closed. So, I still have more money. Oh well. I have brought my journal to make sure that I stay on point. Why is financial freedom important? Honestly, I think it's extremely important because if you don't have it, you are stuck going to a job for the rest of your life. If you never have any savings, let's just imagine you're 60 years old and you have $5,000 in savings, well, you got to keep going to work. You got to keep working. And if it's 70 years old and you have $5,000, you're going to work for the rest of your life every single day. So wouldn't it be nice to actually retire with savings? So most people think about 401k and retirement planning, like that makes sense. But what if you didn't have to wait till you're 60? What if you didn't have to wait till you're 70? What if you could have financial freedom earlier? So you don't have to work, but you can work. Wouldn't that be nice? So I think achieving financial freedom gives you so much more flexibility and freedom in your life to live how you want to live and not just live how you want outside of working that 9-to-5 job. One question you might be asking is, why listen to me? Why listen to Michael? Well, you don't have to. Goodbye. You can leave at any time. You can go read finance books. You could watch YouTube videos on finance. You could do whatever you want to learn that information. I'm going to be discussing and learning as I go. So if you want to learn and really at a pretty easy level, like, if you want to learn super detailed stuff, you can go somewhere else to learn that, or you could chat about it or bring it up. I'd love to talk about it as well. But this is going to be pretty basic stuff for achieving financial freedom. I think it doesn't have to be that difficult. It just has to be relaxed and easy and feel good. And if it feels good, then you'll achieve it. And so I just want to make these conversations around financial freedom pretty easy. And I've achieved a life of financial freedom. And when I say this, it's not like a permanent freedom. There's still ways I want to improve and make more money so that I can have freedom in other ways as well. So I'm going to keep doing that. And I'm going to learn ways to do that. And I'm going to share that. To share some of my background, I came from a middle-class family. I'm very grateful that my family was able to afford school and put me in university. And I finished with not that many loans. Some people graduate university with hundreds of thousands of dollars of loans. I think I finished with maybe 30,000 or maybe 50,000 USD in student loans, which I think is pretty good. And side note, I just, as of last month, paid off my loans completely. So I have no loans, no debt, and I'm 33 years old. So I finally paid that off. Some people don't, pay it off till like 40. because it's so much debt. Talking about the school system can be a whole nother conversation, and how much debt you go in for that, because you can learn so much online now. I mean, we're going to talk about finances right now. I've achieved financial freedom from stuff I've learned outside of school, and I'm gonna I'm gonna chat about that. So you can achieve financial freedom without going to a job for 50 years. You can learn this stuff online, and you can read books on it too. I came from that background, and then I finally got a job. I got one in sales. I ended up going from paycheck to paycheck. Like every big boost of money that I got, I was so excited. And then I go spend that money real quick, and I have $0 left. And then to be honest, I didn't really like sharing this with people, but when I didn't have any funds, I would call up my dad and say, "Hey dad, can I borrow $400? I promise I'll pay you back next month." And he's like, "Yeah, sure, son. Like I don't really feel good about loaning money, and I'm worried about loaning you money. But yeah, we could try it." And so he loaned me $400, and then I got a big, worked hard, got some sales, and then I paid him back. And then the next month came around, right? You get paid in sales in these chunks. Next month came around, and I was like, "Hey dad, can I just borrow $500? And he's like, "Son, sure." And so I borrowed $500. And then the next month it happened again. He's like, "Son, you can't keep doing this." So then it started happening less that I'd start asking him for money. He's like, "You got to figure it out on your own." And then I got another job that paid me more, but that same thing kept happening. And as I realized, this happens with most people. As soon as they get paid more, they get a nicer car, or they get a nicer house, or they buy nicer things. It's instantly like their expenses go up. That's just extraordinarily common. And so over time, I've learned to reduce my reduce my expenses. And then the amount of money I actually have grows, the amount in savings grows just by reducing expenses, right? That's very simple, but you also just don't think about it because the majority of people you're spending time around are spending more money on certain things. It took me to read a few books that really helped me, and a couple of ones that changed my life I'll mention to you. One of them is The House Hacking Strategy. That's by Craig Curelop. That talks about renting a house that's like a duplex, living in one side of it and then renting out the other side. So the rent from one side covers your expenses. Plus, it could cover the entire mortgage for the house, which is basically all that would matter, because then you're going to own a house eventually and you're not paying rent to live, which is huge. Another one is Set for Life by Scott Trench. There's one concept in this book that drastically changed my life. It talked about saving up FU money, or basically, enough money that you could just flip off your boss and then leave. And for that, I think he said $24,000 was the amount to save up, which is enough to live off of for a year, right? If you could have your expenses at about $2,000 a month. And so that was my first chunk to save up. Like I was like, let's do it. Let's save up that first 24,000. And then once you do that, it gives you like a total mental freedom that you wouldn't have had otherwise. Because when you're going from paycheck to paycheck, you need to work. There's no ends if ofs, end of buts, whatever. There's nothing about it. You have to go to work, okay? And as soon as you save up enough money where you don't have to go to work anymore, then you get to go to work. And then when you get to go to work, do you want to keep working at that job you're at, or do you want to leave? Then you can keep making decisions based off of what you want in life. Because you shouldn't be living a life where you're going day to day needing to put food on the table or pay rent or go to that job just to make a little bit of money. You should be living a life that you want. There's no reason you can't. There's no reason you can't live the life you want. You just got to figure out how to do it. And if more people did that, the world would be a happier place. But too many people are spending time doing what they think they have to be doing, and they're kind of upset about it. And then another book that I read later was The Psychology of Money. I think it was a good book. I don't really remember any like large concepts from it, like the other two books that I shared, because the other two books made more of an impact in my life than The Psychology of Money, which is a popular book and it's helpful. Oh, the very first book I read on money is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And that's an easy starter book. That's a book I recommend to most people when they're starting to read anything about finances, just because it's such an easy read and it'll like open up your brain a little bit more. It's a guy who talks about his own dad is a poor dad, and then his friend's dad is a rich dad, but he like treated him like a son. So he had a rich dad and a poor dad. Having both of those dads, he can learn the difference in their mindsets. One dad would say, everything you do is for money. Like every chore is for money. You're going to take out the trash, like get money for it, which is a lot of an American mindset. Like if I'm going to do anything, do it for money, which makes me think about some American systems that could be improved, but maybe for a later date. And the rich dad is teaching about how all this work you can do, but you don't really want to be doing this work to get paid. You don't want to get paid to do this work. Then you're selling your time. You want to figure out how to make money without just putting your time in, and how to figure that out, and how to build your brain and how to grow your brain. And by doing that, you will earn exponentially more money over time. I mean, a small concept of that is if someone's living here in Vietnam, they've lived here their whole life, they might make $4 an hour. Let's just say they're working at a coffee shop. Okay, that's $2 to $4 an hour is how much they'll be earning. I'm going to say this in USD. And if they go to university and earn, build their brain up, then maybe they can earn more money. So rather than $2 to $4 an hour, maybe it can be up to $8 an hour, right? And then we could just say, if they could learn English really well and have that same bit of knowledge and do work for someone in America, then they might be able to earn $12 an hour or even $15 an hour or more, right? So it's just the knowledge that helps them improve their money. It's not like they've drastically changed something about themselves. They're just increasing their knowledge and it's helping them make more money. In this circumstance, we're still talking about money for time. And there are other ways to talk about getting financial freedom or getting more money without just giving up your time. But we'll save that for another date. And so for me, after going from paycheck to paycheck, eventually I started to learn and save and get that freedom. And then I realized I could travel outside the United States and save money. That was a big deal. 1 second. I put a cup of water here like a speaker would do, just in case I was talking too much, and I am, so my mouth's dry. So eventually I traveled outside the United States. This is after creating companies. I created 3 different companies. I was able to leave the United States and travel the world, and I realized I was saving money as I was going. So while I was traveling and living in all these different places, my savings account was increasing. And then my mind started to drastically change. Like, whoa, I don't have to be paying tons of money anymore. Instead, I can pay less and live a better life. And things just started clicking, and more started clicking.